And there it is, that Warlock from SilverName. Does have that Sylvanas in his deck as well. It's nice to know. And we did see that Yeti for a short while there from Asmodai. He does play a Yeti in his version, which used to be played a lot in the early part of 2014, I think. It was basically in every like kind of ramp or fast druid. And it's still a really good card, right? I mean, it kind of fills that 4-mana slot next to like Shredders if you want to have something that's more healthy on the board and less RNG related. So I really like the part that he's playing that. He is on the coin as well here. Does have that Aspirant, so kind of a decent hand. Savage Roar not too good, though. And neither is the Ancient of Lore. Actually, the Wrath isn't too good either because he is playing against a handlock. So the way to win this matchup as Druid is to just kind of curve up as fast as possible, kind of ramp up as fast as possible, and kind of dominate the board in a fashion that not even a Shadow Flamed Watcher can kill you because your Druid of the Claws have so much life. Same for, like, I don't know, Ancient of Wars, Ancient of Lores, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, coin being on his side is actually going to help. No Drake or Giant in the hand of SilverName so far, so that is actually pretty nice here for Asmodai. So we're going to be sweating with him today. No Asmo Grills. Sylvanas picked up. Doesn't help him too much. It's just going to end up tapping here. I mean, SilverName's going to be feeling comfortable here, right? Because he's like, all right, I have 3 shots at this. I'm going to have 3 matches with Handlock. And even if I lose, like, even if he loses against this Druid, and then the Demon Handlock of Asmodai, there's still that super favorable matchup versus the Patron Warrior. So that's pretty brutal. Anti-Keelbot picked up. Not going to change much for SilverName. Just going to keep tapping. If Asmodai picks up an Innervate off the top here, that would be just absolutely crazy because he hasn't drawn well here, to be honest. He hasn't drawn well, right? 3 7-mana drops early on aren't great. This Drake he's going to coin out. He's going to coin out is actually pretty important. Gets a swipe. That isn't helpful at all. Next turn, he doesn't have anything to play. The important thing for the aggressor here, and the deck that's not as late game, one might say, is that you just have to keep kind of flooding the board with big stuff. Ooh, the Dart Bomb is a nice pickup here. He could destroy the ramp dreams of his opponent by just doing this. Because not only does this block Innervate 7 mana plays, it even blocks 5 mana plays. And that's the even bigger deal, right? Unless Asmodai grabs like a Yeti off the top or like a Shredder, what can he do? Oh, another Savage Roar. That's so brutal. Hero Power turn 4. Feels bad, man. That just hurts. Double Savage Roar. Can he push for some surprise damage next turn somehow? I don't think so. No. I was thinking about whether or not he wants to go face right now. He's not going face. Very interesting. 5 mana, he's still safe. Opponent doesn't pick up a Belcher just yet. He could play Chow, Ancient Watcher, and taunt them up. He could also just go for an early heal bot, although that seems pretty awkward. So not a great turn for SilverName just yet. I like the Chow, Ancient Watcher taunt play, though. Because that might force your opponent to, like, swipe. Even if it's spell-powered and therefore pretty nice, it still doesn't clear the board alone. And you can't hero power with it. So I kind of like that play. You don't even have to taunt up, right? The Zombie Chow heal doesn't matter too much either. Oh, he's going to tap with this. And not taunt up. And there's the Belcher. Very interesting. Force of Nature picked up. God, that's brutal. So what do you do here as Asmodai? This feels kind of like a deja vu. I feel like I've seen this situation, like this exact situation on board before, where he has to think about how he removes stuff with like Swipe or Wrath. Like, there's a couple of possibilities. He could spell power swipe the Watcher and just trade the 2/1. kind of stay alive there. He could do it the other way around and clear both of these minions, which doesn't make any sense. Or he could spell power Wrath for the draw on the Chow and just finish it off with the hero power, and then go face, or just not go face because you would put your opponent in spell in like Molten Giant range. You're not really hoping for anything big off of this Wrath, but you're still going for it. This is interesting. Now he has to think about whether he wants to Wild Growth and maybe make turn 7 plays possible, or if he wants to trade. And he decides not to Wild Growth. So no turn 7 play possible just yet on the next turn. And that's the Giant off the top. That's pretty big. He could play that in Sun Fury, which would be pretty sick. Because there's nothing, absolutely nothing Asmodai has in his hand that could deal with that really nicely. Not even a spell power swipe helps that like a lot. Pretty brutal position here for Asmodai. It's basically up to SilverName right now. Like, how does he want to play this out, right? Like, Giant Sun Fury seems pretty obvious. Maybe there's a better play somewhere, somehow. I don't see it, though. Like, just a Belcher seems weird. Same thing for just Giant, just Sylvanas. Even a Siphon Soul seems weird. There's bigger stuff to Siphon, especially if we look at the hand of Asmodai. Obviously, SilverName knows nothing about this, but a lot of plays would have gone differently if certain cards would have been there. Why would he play the more expensive Giant here? I'm so surprised by that. Innervate picked up. I think you'd have to Innervate for tempo here.
What to do?
He actually has a surprising amount of damage. How much damage is Savage Roar swipe? That's 13. It's not good. Like, there's no reason to do so. If he does that, it's not good. But, like, it's still a lot of damage. Probably wants to keep that for a combo next turn. He could combo next turn, actually, yeah. He's probably going to have to trade all this. He doesn't have a silence for any taunts. So I might just have to Innervate Dr. Boom out right now. I'm still so surprised by that Mountain Giant not getting played, because that Molten has so much more versatility. Force of Nature? Why? Like, what's wrong with Innervate Boom? Like, even if your opponent just goes for, like, a huge Shadow Flame, like, what do you want to do? Why doesn't he go face here as well? Is he scared of the second Molten? Second anti-heal bot picked up. No Shadow Flame. Siphon, though. The safest thing here to do here is probably just trade the Drake, Siphon the 7/7.
I wonder.
Double Roar, go for it, YOLO. Yeah, that would have been a play as well. The two turns of these players kind of surprised me a lot. Like, the thing is, I definitely want to refrain from calling stuff misplays, because these guys are obviously worlds ahead of me. But I'm still surprised by them, right? Like, why would you play the more expensive Giant when you could play, like, a less expensive one later on for, like, 0? That was the turn that I didn't understand, and I also didn't understand why you wouldn't go face against a Molten in a situation where you're like, okay, so my opponent probably has heal and taunt. When do I start taking risks? Like, when is he going to start taking risks? This is, like, my legitimate question. Because, sure, he has a lot of burst in his hand, but how is he going to use it? This is also a turn where he has to actually make some pretty interesting decisions. Because he could just swipe this, but then he can't do anything else. He could also just go for the bombs and play Ancient Allure. He could also just play Ancient Allure and, like, ignore this and just go face, like, keep the bombs up as a threat. Or just Azure Drakes and hopes to get like a Wrath, like a spell power Wrath. That would be pretty sick, but obviously the most RNG related line of play.
What to do?
I mean, you have 2 Ancient Allures. At some point, you just have to go for a lure. There's no great way for his opponent to deal with this. Like, he would have to trade it or just taunt up and ignore it. There's no great way to deal with this. And he's going to draw off of this. Thorson Lothar picked up. Not bad cards, not great cards. A big game Hunter would kind of give him an edge. God, and SilverName has so many threats, man. Like Mountain Giant Twilight Drake is an option. Mountain Giant Anti-Keelbot. Like Mountain Giant Belcher is an opportunity. He can also taunt up stuff. He can just play Sylvanas and taunt that up. He could also just go boom. This board is going to become huge on his part right now. And his opponent is 1 mana away, still, from comboing, which is a problem. He should have Wild Growth that 1 turn. That's the one thing I'm certain of. The Wild Growth on the turn where he could have traded with the Drake. I'm very sure of that being the better play here. Which minions is it gonna be? The safe route? With the Belcher? You have to be afraid of Innervate combo, right? Yep. Wow. He has 2 turns of combo in a row. That's pretty crazy. Oh, is he going to go for Thorson and make a huge combo? Apparently he is. It's not going to be expensive. It's going to be 9 mana for 22 damage. 9 mana for 22 damage, and there's also 2 bombs on the field. I like this. It's going to Wild Growth up to 10. That's not going to have any huge impact on combo plays next turn, but it will have impacts on other plays next turn. And this could get very interesting. Mortal Coil off the top, definitely going to help to clean out these bombs. Face for 1. Black Knight in the deck of SilverName. Oh, right. I remember this from last weekend. Yeah. Rethan saying in chat, double roar was still lethal. It's more damage than combo. Or it was lethal. It wasn't lethal at any point. Unless he would have Wild Growth before that. Then it would have been, yes. What is the line of play here? How scared are you of that double combo? And does it matter? And the taunt up. This is so brutal. And he might have to double combo this board in order to even get through this. Unless he feels like he can get away with Drake, Lotheb, and maybe Wrathing the Giant, because he knows that he still has keepers in his deck for the Drake. So that's an option.
I wonder.
You could also Spell Power Swipe, but I don't see a good Spell Power Swipe here. Drake to lead. Doesn't seem bad. Drew the Claw off the top. Shouldn't play that. That's going to get Black Knighted. If he did his research, he knows. Wrath. Is he going to draw for that?
Time waits for no one.
Okay, so that probably means a Spell Power Swipe behind this. Ooh, that's another Innervate. Does that make a difference? Another Innervate. How much more damage does that mean with combo? That's 9. So it only needs 1 more. So he basically has 23 damage in hand right now. 23 damage. Unless... How much is double Force of Nature with 1 Savage War? He could play that as well. That's 24, right? No, it's not 24. It's 22 as well. Yeah, of course it's 22. It's the same thing. Jiraxis off the top would heal him for 2. God, this is really interesting. So the thing for Asmodai is he might end up playing like 2 rounds of just a normal combo, because the board in a state that it is right now looks perfect to clear with combo, right? And there's no way to heal it up. God, SilverName's got to feel so creeped out right now. He's like, my opponent isn't playing stuff. So he's actually going to double heal bot. He's like, all right, I played 1 Molten. Go for it, bro. I'm going to fight the battle till the end for this board. I know you're Druid and you have big stuff, but come on. I dare you. And that's what he's going to do. And I'd be surprised to not see a single combo come down this turn. Unless he wants to go for Lore Loatheb, which seems so bad versus Shadow Flame, right? What if there's a single Shadow Flame on the Watcher? It feels like the whole game would be lost from that point. I mean, Asmodai is definitely going to rope this turn. Like, he has to think this one out. Like, the game plan changes every single turn. It's 26? You can't hero power, though, then, right? Oh, it's 26?
What to do?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't think the extra 2 from the hero. And there's that first Savage Roar. Gonna take out another heal bot with us. Innervate out the Druid of the Claw, and that's gonna lose all this tempo again, because that Black Knight's gonna say, thank you, man. It's only fun when they run. Owl draws well. It's pretty useless at this point. Tap. There's no reason to taunt up at this point. He might want to, like, he has 2 Sun Fury, so he might decide to play 1 just to actually maybe even push for damage, but there's no real reason to. And this looks like the Ancient of Lore Loatheb turn. Just so strong on the curve. Gonna see what he gets off of the teachings here. Shredder as well. Could play that. Yeti, but Loatheb just looks way too strong here.
I see.
Basically, this says, okay, bro, come on. You're going to have to flood the board now. But there is a big Dr. Boom here. There's that next Molten Giant. That's pretty useless at this point. He has to kill everything, though, or taunt up. Like, he can't just ignore this, because then there's 29 damage with combo in hand here for Asmodai, so he has to trade. The trade with the heal bot and the Argus looks obvious, but what does he do about the second one? The second 5/5? He's gonna have to ignore. He's like, all right, bro, go for it. Eat my taunt, and have fun with this. He doesn't even have to taunt, but he's thinking about it.
Almost out of time. I wonder.
Just a tap to follow it up, or to end it off, rather. Ragnaros picked up. That's going to help out. So much late game power, man. Can he get away with not comboing this turn? He could, but he would have to take 7.
What to do?
Right, like he could trade the Black Knight with a 5/5, swipe Dr. Boom, and then just hero power to finish it off. It's like Living Roots as well. Well.
I wonder.
You can't swipe with this, sadly. Like, how much damage is this? It's not enough. Or is it? Oh no. Oh no, I feel so bad for Asmodai. He's one off. And he's like, all right, bro. I got you. There's no way that you can win against me next turn or stay alive against my swipe. But not only is it lethal, but even if it weren't lethal for SilverName, Jiraxxus would have just said Oblivion, and it would have just been game. So Asmodai goes out of this year's World Championship qualifiers